start the YouTube feed in about 1 second, inshallah.
Okay, no
Be
problem.
patient with me, inshallah.
No problem.
So while we're waiting for others,
What's up?
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد سيد الخلق أجمعين. اللهم ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وارحمنا واهدنا واهد بنا وعافنا يا ربنا وارزقنا وبارك لنا اللهم فيما أعطيتنا وارحمنا وأنت الرحمن وأنت الرحيم. Inshallah, we continue on with Surah Al-A'raf as we have completed last week the ayah number 147 the ayah وَالَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا وَلِقَاءِ الْآخِرَةِ حَبِطَتْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ هَلْ يُجْزَوْنَ إِلَّا مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Ayah number 147. Today, inshallah, we will start with the ayah number 148. وَاتَّخَذَ قَوْمُ مُوسَى مِنْ بَعْدِهِ مِنْ حُلِيِّهِمْ عِجْلًا جَسَدًا لَهُ خُوَارٌ أَلَمْ يَرَوْا أَنَّهُ لَا يُكَلِّمُهُمْ وَلَا يَهْدِيهِمْ سَبِيلًا اتَّخَذُوهُ وَكَانُوا ظَالِمِينَ. The sequence of the story is Musa alayhi salam arrived on the other side of him and his people arrived on the other side of the Red Sea. He took off for 40 days, 30 days, which is the upward. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala extended for him another 10, it became 40. And then he headed back and he found them, has committed the most egregious of all crimes. And it is the crime of shirk and kufr, as they have taken a golden calf. And this is the ayah here. وَاتَّخَذَ قَوْمُ مُوسَى. The people of Musa, the Qawm Musa, اتَّخَذُوا, they have taken. مِن بَعْدِهِ, after him, after he took off for 40 days, 40 nights, that way he took off. مِن حُلِيِّهِمْ, from their hilya, as to it is from their jewelry, when they wear or they use. They made from it عِجْلًا جَسَدًا, a body of ajl, a body of a calf. Al-ajl is a baby cow. It's called ajl. As we say today, the meat, if you buy it in the market, they call veal. Veal is a young calf of the young cow. It's called veal. Or what we call it in Arabic, we say ajl. Jasadan. Jasad is a body. They have taken a body of a calf. It's not really a real calf. And look at the accurate description. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for no confusion, for nobody to get confused, they did not take an actual cow. They did not take an actual calf. They fabricated a body of a cow, a young calf, and it has khuwar, it has a sound, khuwar. So the detail of the story is way more explicitly detailed in Surah Taha. How the Samiri, the character Samiri, and it was mentioned in the Quran 3 times in Surah Taha only, how he misguided them, as well as when the conversation between Musa alayhi salam and his people, what he has addressed them when he came back to them, when he was very angry with them, and he addressed them. And then eventually they told him the story of how they have made this cow and all the details in Surah Taha. Here is the perspective is a little bit different. So I want to concentrate on this perspective here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not telling us all the details about it like Surah Taha in that perspective. Here is that what is their actions, what is the consequence of their action in the perspective of Surah Al-A'raf. Surah Al-A'raf, again, we're concentrating on the people who are not fully committed to the deen. Look at Bani Israel, look at their stories. They're not fully committed. They are with their prophet. They have followed the path, but they are so hesitant in so many positions, so many situations. They were not fully committed. They never, fully jumped in or indulged fully in the belief of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But at the same time, they were not kuffar. They were not a state of kufr. If they were, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have removed them off the face of this earth like he did remove the rest of the nations before them. So you can tell the wishy-washy situation they're in, and that is the warning in Surah Al-Araf. So the people of Musa, وَاتَّخَذَ قَوْمُ مُوسَى مِنْ بَعْدِهِ, after he took off for 40 days, مِنْ حُلِيِّهِمْ, from their jewelry, which is they accumulated, and the Surah Taha is actually they stole it, and they took it from the jewelry of the Coptic or Ali Fir'aun. They used to work in their homes. They took it, including their own jewelry. They put it all together. They melted, and the Samiri made for them a ajil, made for them a golden calf. It has holes in it, in the front of it, in the back of it. Every time the wind blows, it makes this noise, like khuwar. Khuwar is a noise that a cow would make, or an animal would make when in a form like animal sound like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chastises them here. He says, Alam yaraw, haven't they seen annahu la yukallimuhum, that is actually is not speaking to them, it's just making noise, completely useless, frivolous noise. وَلَا يَهْدِيهِمْ, and he's not guiding them to anything, سَبِيلًا, وَلَا يَهْدِيهِمْ سَبِيلًا, and he's not guiding them to any path, on any straight path of any sort. Can they tell? Can they see? وَكَانُوا ظَالِمِينَ, and they were transgressors. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is bringing a very important point, is that for the people who worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they need to use their minds, their intellect, to contemplate these deities. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking them here, look at the sentence, how is it worded, how is it said? أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا, haven't they seen? Haven't they noticed? Haven't they actually realized that this cow is not really talking to them? It's just making noises, frivolous noises, and is not guiding them to a road they've taken. It's not doing anything for them. And this is a question for all the people who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and who don't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on both sides. Don't we use, the believers, we use our minds, we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. He left this trace for us to recognize his, greatness, his creation, his, and why and how would he be, deified and worshipped and on and on. Versus the kafirin, they don't use their minds. And that is the problem. That is the issue. أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا أَنَّهُ لَا يُكَلِّمُهُمْ, haven't said they see, it's not talking to them. Haven't Abu Jahl noticed that these statues he was worshipping, it's not talking to him, it's not doing anything for him. He himself, Abu Jahl, and the rest of the Kuffar al-Quraysh in the days of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, they were made by them. They make them and they worship them. Haven't they noticed that they don't talk to them? Where's their minds? What happened to you? And وَلَا يَهْدِيهِمْ سَبِيلًا اتَّخَذُوهُ, and there he's not guiding them to a road that they've taken. He's not showing them anything. And وَكَانُوا ظَالِمِينَ, and they were transgressors against themselves by doing this. They have noticed. The next ayah here, وَلَمَّا سُقِطَ فِي أَيْدِيهِمْ, and this is very unusual, this sentence here. وَلَمَّا سُقِطَ فِي أَيْدِيهِمْ. The expression I want to discuss in two different ways. If you look at the translation of it, it means that when they felt the regret and the repentment, they repented as the meaning of it. But what is the actual meaning? What does this say? The scholars talk about this sentence. They said, and the Zajjaj and some of the Arabic scholars, they said, this sentence in this way is been mentioned. The Arab people, before that, they never used it in that context or in this meaning. The literal meaning means walamma, and when, walamma, and when, suqita, and it's mabniyun ala majhul, it's when it has fallen in their hands, when it has fallen in their hands. What does that mean? The actual meaning, the translation of it is correct. When they felt the regret and the remorse. But the literal meaning means that, you notice that if somebody of strength, he always speaks of the strength of the hand. You know, I did this with my hand. My hands are this. My hands are strong. And when you want to work out, the very first thing you do, you hold the dumbbells to strengthen your hands. Can you imagine if something, instead of the hand is doing something to something, it's actually something fell in their hands. Something has happened to them. The part that motivates or make the action, the hand itself, instead of it taking the action, it's actually received it, it felt in it. The meaning here as to they will look, when you're looking, like they said an example, you look at your hands and your hands are strong and able, you do things with it, you plow the earth with it, and you dig and you break rocks and you dig trenches, or you carve things with it, whatever. All of a sudden it became helpless and things fell in it. So instead of it doing, it's been done to. It is an extreme case of when somebody sits there in complete helpless remorse, helpless, and thinking to himself is like, what have I done to myself? What happened to me? In that kind of situation. It's a beautiful expression. Most of the scholars talked about it, says the Arab, the people who speak the Arabic, use that term after. They never used it before. It is at the highest of the balagha, the highest of the expression as it could possibly be made. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inserted it in this ayah the first time in this expression, in that meaning. But for us, we take it as to when they felt remorse, when they felt regret, as to, or they have some, and I want to bring it a little bit more. It's actually more towards like when they submitted from the regret. When you regret so much and you remorse so much, you submit and you say, I'm completely helpless. I don't know what to say. I have no explanation to this. So, وَلَمَّا سُقِطَ فِي أَيْدِيهِمْ, as the order or the regret, and they realized what they have done. وَرَأَوْا أَنَّهُمْ قَدْ ضَلُّوا, and they have seen that they have been misguided, went astray. وَرَأَوْا, they have seen that they are قَدْ ضَلُّوا, they went completely astray of the path. قالوا, they said, لَإِن لَمْ يَرْحَمْنَا رَبُّنَا, if our Rabb did not give us rahmah, did not give us an easy way out of this, did not treat us with a good way that we can exit and find a way out of for ourselves out of the situation. وَيَغْفِرْ لَنَا, and He covers for us, our mistakes, what we have done. لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ, we will be surely from the losers. Remember this expression when Musa alayhi salam, what he said, inni, سأكون إن شاء الله, صابرا. Remember the story that I told you, I will be from the patient, I will be patient. Versus Ismail alayhi salam, I will be from sabirin. So when he says min as-sabirin, as to he will be surely from the ones who have patience in the ayah. Also, سليمان عليه السلام, وأوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا وأدخلني برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. Make me enter in your ibad, in your salihin. Here is the opposite. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us rahmah and give us maghfirah, surely we will be from the losers, from the ones who are the group of losers, as to assertive statement, from not just maybe not to lose. We will be surely from the losers, as to we will definitely lose everything without what we have. This is the situation to discuss. Musa alayhi salam has met Mu'ad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had an appointment with him for 40 days. He left Harun alayhi salam with these people. He took off for 30. It was supposed to be 30. It turned out to be 40. They took a golden calf. They fabricated it with their own hands, from their own gold pieces that they have accumulated from their own jewelry. And it has a sound. And they have committed, literally, they have committed the most egregious sin in the history of humanity, is to commit shirk. And they fabricated the shirk. They fabricated this God, this deity with their own hands, with their own gold. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chastises them. Where's the brains? Don't you see that this, this thing here is not talking to you? He's not guiding you? Haven't they seen that? And again, the talk is to Bani Israel, but the meaning goes on to all humanity, And they didn't realize they were transgressors. They did not realize that there's golden pieces they have made, or they've accumulated and they melted it. They made a golden calf out of it. They did not realize that this is their own doing and cannot be God, cannot be deity to be worshipped. And eventually, when Musa alayhi salam came back, was سُقِطَ فِي أَيْدِيهِمْ, and they have completely, submitted from their own regret. They knew, how big of a mistake they have made, and they knew that they went completely astray. And they said, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not give us rahmah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not give us maghfirah, cover for us our mistakes and forgive our mistakes, then we will be surely from al-khasirin. You notice the next ayah here, number 150. It's actually a little bit backwards, if you notice, and I will tell you why. وَلَمَّا رَجَعَ مُوسَى إِلَى قَوْمِهِ غَضْبَانَ أَسِفًا. And when Musa alayhi salam came back to his people, غضبان, غضب, angry, asifa, regretful, from the asaf. It's like, what has happened to you? You notice that this ayah should have been there before as the repentment or the regret of Bani Israel. The sequence of the story should be like this. Musa alayhi salam took off to the mountain. He came back after 40 nights. He found them, and this is the ayah here, number 150. He found وَلَمَّا رَجَعَ Musa. When Musa returned, Raja, when he came back angry and upset, regret and feeling bad of what they have done. And he spoke to them, and then the ayah number 48 should have been there, and the people of Musa have taken a golden calf of their own doing, and when the story, the regret, the ayah number 149. But subhanAllah, look at the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how he made one full story that it is self-explanatory. It is concise in direction, in all, it's enveloped in a perfect connotation, and put it aside, outside of the sequence, for us to understand it, to realize it, because that is the heart of the problem. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us the story from the eyes of Musa alayhi salam. What was the action and reaction of Musa alayhi salam? Otherwise, this story would have been combined in the sequence of the story of Musa alayhi salam, and we wouldn't have been paying attention to it as much as we should have. This is the heart of the problem. This is the essence of the problem, what they have done. And then the action of Musa alayhi salam, the story here 150, is reactive to their own doing. What did Musa alayhi salam do when he got back? What did he do when he saw them doing what they're doing? But the actual problem is their own doing. Look at these people. Look at these people who their prophet only left them for 40 days, 40 nights, and they've taken a golden calf. They've fabricated a golden calf to worship it. And they have not used their minds. They have not used their senses. They did not contemplate on this. And when they were so regretful, they realized their own mistake. They were so regretful, they went back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, وَلَمَّا رَجَعَ مُوسَى إِلَى قَوْمِهِ غَضْبَانَ. He's angry. أَسِفًا مِنَ الْأَسَفِ. When we say in Arabic, we say somebody did mistake, we say asif. Asif, as to, I'm sorry because I did this. فَمِنَ الْأَسَفِ, because of sorry, Musa alayhi salam, the story in Surah Taha is clear. وَمَا أَعْجَلَكَ عَنْ قَوْمِكَ يَا مُوسَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he had the appointment, when he was on top of the mountain, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressed him, say, what made you rush, Ya Musa? He says, where is your people? What is your, where is your people? Where they at? He answers, says, قال هم أولئك على أثري وعجلت إليك ربي لترضى. He says, they are behind me and I rush towards you, Allah, to you, Ya Allah, for you to be satisfied, happy with me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He says, فَإِنَّا قَدْ فَتَنَّا قَوْمَكَ مِنْ بَعْدِكَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we have made fitna, we have tested them severely with their deen. وَأَضَلَّهُمُ السَّامِرِينَ. The Samiri misguided them. And that's when Musa alayhi salam got back. He was already on the road back. He was angry and upset because he was informed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of this grave mistake his people have done. Huge sin. A sin that it's the biggest of all, to commit shirk. A blatant, direct shirk of the highest level. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says a couple of times in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not forgive anybody who may commit shirk, but He forgives anything below that. Right. قال, he said, بئس ما خلفتموني من بعدي. بئس ما خلفتموني من بعدي. He says, what is the worst thing you have you stayed behind me, or you took over from behind me from Khilafah. I leave you from here, you took over. The worst, what a worse situation, what a worse place, what a worse thing you have committed, that you have taken my place, or you have substituted me after I've left you. And he says, أَعْجِلْتُمْ أَمْرَ رَبِّكُمْ? He said, did you rush the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What did you guys think? And Surah Taha is clear. They said, he gave them 3 different reasons, and they added a 4th one, and this is the essence of misguidance. It's clear in Surah Taha. Here, it's only about أَعْجِلْتُمْ أَمْرَ رَبِّكُمْ. Did you rush the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Did you rush the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Did you rush the consequence Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cast upon you? وَأَلْقَى الْأَلْوَاحِ. He had the tablets with him. He threw the tablets on the ground. وَأَلْقَى الْأَلْوَاحِ. Threw them. وَأَخَذَ بِرَأْسِ أَخِيهِ يَجُرُّهُ. And he took the head of his brother. He took the head, as kind of sort of today, we can imagine how we take a head. It's pretty much you get him in a headlock underneath your arm, and he took his head, and يَجُرُّهُ إِلَيْهِ. He is يَجُرُّ, to tow, to grab on towards him. So basically, what happened here? He addressed them. He says, what is the worst thing you have replaced my rule, or replaced me with? Is that for you guys to do this? He says, did you want to rush the order and the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon you? And you went after who? He went after Harun alayhi salam. Harun alayhi salam, he grabbed him literally, physically, and he got him on headlock. And in the other ayah, Harun alayhi salam explained what has happened to him. He says, قَالَ يَا ابْنَ أُمَّ لَا تَأْخُذْ بِلِحْيَتِي وَلَا بِرَأْسِي. Do not grab my beard, do not grab my head. So basically, he got him on a headlock and he started to pull on his beard as a form of physical punishment, what he's exposing his own brother to. قَالَ ابْنَ أُمَّ إِنَّ الْقَوْمَ اسْتَضْعَفُونِ. And he is, Harun alayhi salam said to him, he says, Ya ibn the son of a mother, as he's appealing to him in a term of endearment. He's telling him, he says, oh, you're the son of my mother. Remember, as to you and I have the same mother. Don't overdo this on me. I am not a stranger to you. I'm the son of your mother. I am your brother. What are you doing to me? No? And he says, إِنَّ الْقَوْمَ اسْتَضْعَفُونِ. The people have made me, or they have, spent an effort for them to make me weak. They never taken my advice. They never followed me. They are always weaker amongst them. وَكَادُوا يَقْتُلُونَنِي. And they are almost يَقْتُلُونَنِي. Almost they were going to kill me. فَلَا تُشَمِّتْ بِيَ الْأَعْدَاءِ. Shammat means as to, or we say shamat, is that if somebody commit a mistake, um, the people who are on his side, the people who are closer to him, they feel bad for him, right? They sympathize with him, they empathize with him, they feel bad because of what he has done. But his enemies would feel happy, will feel elated, will feel good, and that's called shamat in Arabic. It's an unusual word and an unusual meaning. Harun alayhi salam is telling Musa, do not make do not make the enemies, al-a'da, the enemies, do not make them be elated and happy of what you are doing to me. And he says, وَلَا تَجْعَلْنِي مَعَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ, and do not make me from the transgressors. Do not make me as part of them. The ayah number 150, I'm going to go back to this inshallah for a quick second. What happened here? What did Musa alayhi salam do? He turned into dua. قال ربي اغفر لي ولأخي. Ya Allah, give maghfirah. Ya Allah, cover the mistakes of my mistakes and the mistakes of my brother Harun. وأدخلنا في رحمتك, and enter us into your rahmah. Because at this point, he got nothing. He got nothing except the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save him and his brother from the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, except his rahmah. وأنت أرحم الراحمين, and he is in a very beautiful way. What is he saying to them? And you have the most rahmah of all the rahimin, of all the ones who give rahmah of all. So, put yourselves in this picture. What happened here? Musa alayhi salam gets back. He sees his people committed the worst of the worst crimes ever. They made golden calf intentionally, blatant violation of the most basic rule of deen and Islam and submission of all. Doing what? They've taken a golden calf and they built it, they created it, and they are worshipping, they are bowing, and they are making sujood to it. Musa alayhi salam knew about this. He's holding the tablets in his hand. He was angry. He felt sorry because of what he's been through, they've been through. He feels bad. He feels regretful. And he threw, and immediately, the very first thing he says, what is the worst thing you've replaced me with? What is the worst thing you've done after I've left you? You know? He says, did you rush the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you to be punished? And then he threw the tablets. How did he address his people? Do you notice how he addressed them? With talk, chastising, blaming them, explaining to them. Who did he really punish physically? Who was the one deserving of the punishment? Their leader, their alim, their scholar, who he left behind to guide them. He's the one who did not take the action according to his view. The view of Musa alayhi salam, he says, he looked at two groups here, right? He's looking at all his people, what they've done, and he looks at Harun alayhi salam, which is he trusted him on the job. So he went after Harun. After he said a couple of words to these people, he went after Harun. He grabbed him by the head, he pulled his beard, and he pulled him towards him, says, what have you done? Why didn't you do something to these people? Why didn't you? And this is much clearer actually in Surah Taha. So brothers, as an example today, when you have people who are misguided, who do something bad in nation, in ummah overall, who is the one who takes the most amount of punishment? They're scholars, they're leaders, because they have double the sin. They have the sin of their people because they did not do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed upon them from their duty and the obligation for them to correct the path, for them to advise, for them to, tell, for them to order people to do good, to stay away from bad. Also, they themselves, they have they drop their own responsibility of doing what they're supposed to do. It's a double sin on them. And you notice that how Musa alayhi salam in a clear way showed it in that direction. What did he tell his people? What have you done? What you guys are doing? Pay attention. But the scholar is the one who really deserved the punishment. This is not the job you should have done. This is not something you should have stood for. But Harun alayhi salam gave him a very good explanation in Surah Taha. And he says, قال يا ابن أم لا تأخذ بلحيتي ولا برأسي إني خشيت أن تقول فرقت بين بني إسرائيل ولم ترقب أمري. Harun alayhi salam had a very good excuse. He said to him, he says, do not take my head and do not take my beard. I was afraid that for you to say that I have divided Bani Israel and you did not watch for my orders. And the theory here, as the scholars have talked about, is that if Harun alayhi salam he actually stood his ground and he forced them and he says, you cannot do this. Bani Israel would have been divided in two different groups. Groups would have followed him and he would have to leave them and walk away. And another group would have been left behind with no scholar, with no guidance, with no righteousness with them, no good people with them, because all would be left over would be the good, bad people. And they would have no good to come from them. And bigger sin, what would have happened is the division between Bani Israel. So wisely, Harun alayhi salam, what he did is that he decided to stay within the group and to work within the group of Bani Israel to amend and make things as good as it can be, even though there's a huge sin is being committed in front of his eyes. A huge sin as big as it can be. But he decided to stay within and not to cause more fitna by causing division of Bani Israel. Here, it's not mentioned in this context, but mentioned in something else. It says, وَلَا فَلَا تُشَمِّتْ بِيَ الْأَعْدَاءِ. Do not have the enemies, being elated and happy with your actions. Maybe it's a lesson from Harun alayhi salam to be taught, is that a scholar should not be chastised and should not be punished in a public way like this, because he would lose his status. He would lose his position. Nobody would respect any scholars out there beyond this point. Maybe that's explained like this as such, But the other thing, what he told him, he says, do not join me with them. I'm not like them. You're punishing me, but I'm free of them. I am completely bari from what they're doing. At this point, Musa alayhi salam made the dua. قال رب اغفر لي, Allah, make ghufran for me and for my brother. You notice that he did not ask maghfirah, did not ask forgiveness for his people. They're not worthy of this yet. They need to work hard, very hard, for them to wipe off and eliminate the sin they have committed, right? وَأَدْخِلْنَا فِي رَحْمَتِكَ, and make it enter your rahmah, and وَأَنْتَ أَرْحَمُ, you are the most merciful, the most rahim of arham of all of the rahimin overall. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making here it's not the speech of the next ayah, number 152. It's not the speech of Musa alayhi salam or Harun or whatever. It says, إن الذين اتخذوا العجل سينالهم غضب من ربهم وذلة في الحياة الدنيا وكذلك نجزي المفترين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the ones who have taken the ijl, have taken this calf, the ghadab, the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get them. سينالهم غضب, will get them an anger from the Rabb. وذلة, a shame and disgrace they will go through in this earthly life. وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُفْتَرِينَ, and that's how we will punish the ones who make iftira, the ones who make up a lie, an extreme form of deceit and lie on the behalf of somebody else, iftira. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the next ayah says, وَالَّذِينَ عَمِلُوا السَّيِّئَاتِ ثُمَّ تَابُوا مِنْ بَعْدِهَا. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make an exemption. وَالَّذِينَ عَمِلُوا السَّيِّئَاتِ, and the ones who made sayyi'at, the ones who made bad deeds, evil deeds, sayyi', bad. ثُمَّ تَابُوا, and then they made tawbah, مِنْ بَعْدِهَا, afterwards. وَآمَنُوا وَآمَنُوا إِنَّ رَبَّكَ مِنْ بَعْدِهَا لَغَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. your Rabb after this. He is Ghafoor. He is all Ghafoor and He's all Rahim. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the threat first, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made a clause for people to escape it. And the ones who take the ijl, the ones who have taken this calf, well, let's take it as literal. These specific people, the one who have taken this ijl, they've taken this golden calf, the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get them. And an extreme form of disgrace and shame will be with them in this earthly life. And that is the punishment for the ones who make up a lie. That is literal. But let's take it as abroad. Anybody who makes up a deity with his own hands and worships it, anybody who worships other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is obviously is a form of iftira, form of a lie. Anybody who showing gratitude and shukr and hamd and worship to an object other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will suffer from two different consequences. One is the ghadab and the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get them here in their earthly life and their life after. Number one. And number two, وَذِلَّةٌ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. Don't think that they're going to be living in a form of dignity here on the face of this earth. This type of behavior will also cast upon them. They will be living in shame, in disgrace in this earthly life, and that is the punishment. Except, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and the ones who did bad deeds, as a general rule, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say that specifically about them. وَالَّذِينَ عَمِلُوا السَّيِّئَاتِ, the ones who do bad deeds, ثُمَّ تَابُوا, and then make tawbah, repented, they went back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with wholeheartedly, with the regret, complete regret of what they've done, and complete decisive action for them not to go back to it, and for them to cleanse themselves from their actions with repentance. وَآمَنُوا, and they believed wholeheartedly. إِنَّ رَبَّكَ min ba'di Allah, your Rabb, after they do all that tawbah and all this coming back and this iman, He is Ghafoor, He is Rahim. As in other words, do not lose hope. There is always Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's Ghafoor, who's Rahim. And sure enough, look what has happened to Bani Israel as the end result of their actions. The next ayah, 154. وَلَمَّا سَكَتَ عَنْ مُوسَى الْغَضَبُ, when the ghadab, anger, sakat. You notice that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the word sakat from sukut, silence. He did not use the word sakan. Sakan is to calm. And by the way, like I told you in the Arabic language, you look at the first two letters and you follow them with the third. From the third, the originally three-letter words. Like for instance, say sakata, sakana, sakaba, and you go on and on. You add the last word, the last letter to the first two, and then the meaning would change. But the meaning would change in the same connotation, but a little bit of difference. Like for instance, you notice how close the word sakan, as from sukoon, from quiet, into sakat from for you to be to shut your mouth and don't say anything, from sukut. You notice how close they are, but they're not. Sukoon is not sukut, even though they're close. So, what is the meaning here? The anger did not quiet. The anger stopped its, the words. No words came out from the anger like this. Obviously, it's clear. The picture is clear. Musa alayhi salam went completely with his anger, went completely, off on his people because of what they've done. He went completely off on them. He's just, going after them. What have you done? How can you do this? On and on and on and on. It's like, for me, the biggest example of this is that you can imagine if there's an architect or engineer who is working on his baby project, He's building and building one block after one block and on and on and on and on. And, the project is so perfect and he worked on it so hard and he left his crew behind. He went out for lunch for 1 hour. He came back and they destroyed everything. They actually screwed up the foundation, they screwed up everything back and forth like this. That was the essence of what he was doing, to build the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hearts of his own people. And they committed the absolute opposite of that. It was not just kind of for them to stay away from salah, or from them maybe to cheat, to lie, to make maghiba, or even to make zina. It's actually the epitome of all crimes, to take a golden calf and to worship it. Unbelievable. Completely. I mean, right now I'm talking about it, I'm getting all bent out of shape and getting excited. Like, how could you guys do this? How could you do this? How could you possibly do this? You can imagine the state of mind of Musa alayhi salam. When his anger quieted, did not say anymore, sakat anhu an Musa al-ghadab, akhadha al-alwah. He took the tablets. وفي نسختها, and it in its copy, هدى ورحمة للذين هم لربهم يرهبون. There is in its copy, there is huda, there is guidance, ورحمة, there is rahmah in it, there is ease, there is good in it that will give them the ease into their own doing their job, or what they are being told to do. And that is for whom they have rahbah, they have fear in their hearts from their Rabb. So the meaning here is that when Musa alayhi salam, you remember how earlier on in the ayah before, in ayah number 150, وَأَلْقَى الْأَلْوَاحِ, he threw the tablets. So the tablets, obviously, it's not a piece of leather, it's not a piece of wood, it's actually made out of some kind of stone. And what he did, he threw them on the ground. And people ask, what happened to these, tablets? Actually, here in this ayah, وَفِي نُسْخَتِهَا, and in its copy. So basically, some of it, or all of it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, it got broken. They broke it. What broke it? Their sins. What breaks the Torah? What breaks these tablets? What broke these tablets? Their own sins. You notice that when people sin, how much of a crimes we commit. Mankind, when he commits crimes, when he commits mischief, when he does bad things, there's always a bad effect to his actions. And vice versa. If you do good deed, something good would be left behind overall. You can imagine how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam the wisdom and the hard work for them to compilate, to gather all the ayat of the Quran to make one mushaf out of it. Versus Bani Israel, when the mushaf, their Torah, their book came to them, written, ready to go, with their own actions, they actually broke it. It got broken by Musa alayhi salam. As protective as he is of that book, yet it got broken because of their actions. So obviously, the tablets were broken. Some of it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, some of it or all of it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with His rahmah, has made a copy of it. As nisakha yansakh, is to make a copy of it. And in this copy, there's huda, there's guidance, and there's rahmah. There's an ease of what things should be doing to live their lives here on the face of this earth. And this is only from the ones who truly fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. واختار موسى قومه 70 رجلا لميقاتنا. The ayah number 155. Musa alayhi salam chosen 70 people for our appointment لميقاتنا. فلما أخذتهم الرجفة, when the shaken have taken them, قال رب لو شئت أهلكتهم من قبل وإياي. And Musa alayhi salam said, Ya Allah, if you wanted, you would have destroyed me and them min qabl, before that. And he made the dua. He says, أتهلكنا بما فعل السفهاء منا. So would you destroy us because of the action of the sufaha, the not smart, the not able, the ones who make silly and bad decisions from Safi. So here in this ayah here, it's actually people get confused because they confuse this ayah with the action of how the how Bani Israel they were forgiven because of their sin. The ayah number 54 in Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ يَا قَوْمِ إِنَّكُمْ ظَلَمْتُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ بِاتِّخَاذِكُمُ الْعِجْلَ فَتُوبُوا إِلَى بَارِئِكُمْ فَاقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُم. The ayah over there is clear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not allow this sin, the greatest sin of all they committed, without some kind of payback, some kind of, punishment. So they repented, they made tawbah, they felt bad. And this is the ayah number 54, describes exactly how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exonerated them from their sin and give them, rahmah, and give them the tawbah. What has happened is that Musa alayhi salam was ordered to gather, and this is the tafsir. It says someone says 70, someone says 700, someone says 7,000. Allahu alam of how many of them, of his own people. He gathered them and he put them in a place and handed every one of them a sword. And each one of those, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered them to kill each other. And sure enough, they started to hit each other, kill each other, until Jibreel alayhi salam came to Musa alayhi salam and told him, stop, or take your thawb, take your abaya and put it on your shoulder. When he did, the killing stopped. Musa alayhi salam looked up and he found so many people are dead. So many people are actually, maimed and cut off and on, whatever has happened to them. And he felt so bad and he cried. So Jibreel alayhi salam came to him and says, what made you, what makes you cry? What are you crying for? Musa alayhi salam said, سيقال أن موسى قتل بني إسرائيل. It says, it would be said that Musa has killed his own people. Bani Israel killed his own people. Just look at the dead. Look at this horrible scene. So Jibreel, with the wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, informed him. He says, anybody who is dead, he's in the Jannah now. And anybody who's with you, still alive, he will be forgiven. So Musa alayhi salam smiled afterwards. Musa alayhi salam, the man, looked up and he saw the blood. And he saw the bloodshed. He saw the killing. But Musa alayhi salam, the prophet, he saw the other side of things. He saw this bloodshed means that the people who are dead, they're actually in Jannah. And the other people are there, they've been forgiven. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala converted this calamity has come upon them, what they have costed themselves, into a complete success, into complete victory. Some of them actually entered the Jannah directly, and some of them are still there, they've been forgiven. What a great Rahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rahman Rahim. So that event is different than this. These 70 are not those people, completely different. This is an entirely different incident. What has happened here is that they went to Musa alayhi salam. They said, we want to see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speak to you. We want to hear it. We want to witness it. So Musa alayhi salam accompanied 70 of them, rajulan, limiqatina, for our appointment, which is preset by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with him. And when they arrived in a place, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala casted a little bit of dark cloud upon them, and Musa alayhi salam stood there, and they were outside of that area, but they're looking and they're watching and they are witnessing what's going on. They're witnessing the actual conversation between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Musa alayhi salam. They're witnessing this talk. So rajfa, a shaking has taken place. That's how the whole thing started. Musa alayhi salam started by saying, Rabbi law shi'ta ahlaktani ahlaktahum min qablu wa iyyak. He says, Ya Allah, if you wanted to, you would have destroyed them and me with them. Ya Allah, you're all capable of doing everything you wanted to do. He says, Ya Allah, atuhlikuna bima fa'ala sufaha'u minna. Would you destroy us with the actions of the weak opinioned ones, the ones who are not able, the ones not smart, the ones who are acting with not contemplation. From the word safih. Safih is that it could be actually, safih could be told on somebody who's young, who does not have his full mental capacity or mental experience or social experience. They're called safih, and or somebody who's older, but he cannot control his money. He does not know how to spend it. We call him safih because he does not have the right opinion, the right way to adjust things. So, سفهاء منا, the ones who don't have the brains, don't have the ability, don't have the opinions of what they've done. إن هي إلا فتنتك تضل بها من تشاء. He says, Ya Allah, it's nothing but you test your fitna that you have exposed us, me and them, to it. تضل بها من تشاء. You set astray, you misguide with it whomever you please. وتهدي بها من تشاء, and you guide whomever that you please. أنت ولينا, you are our wali, you are our attorney, you are our defender, you are the one who is in charge of our affairs, you are our wali. فاغفر لنا وارحمنا, make maghfirah to us, وارحمنا, make rahmah to us. وأنت خير غافرين, and you are the best of غافرين. Nobody will forgive like you, Ya Allah. واكتب لنا في هذه الدنيا حسنة, and write for us, give us in this dunya حسنة. وفي الآخرة, and in the akhirah, in the life after. إنا هدنا إليك, we are guided to you, Ya Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered him. He says, قال عذابي أصيب به من أشاء. He says, my adhab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, and they heard it. They are actually hearing the voice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also as well. They hear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answer him. He says, قال عذابي أصيب به من أشاء ورحمتي وسعت كل شيء. My torture, my torment, I expose to it whomever I want, and my rahmah, my ease that I could cast, it could contain كل شيء, it contains everything. Everything is out there. فسأكتبها, I will write this. للذين يتقون, I will write this maghfirah and rahmah. I will write this, complete forgiveness and complete rahmah to the ones who have tuqa, the ones who yattaqoon. Number one, ويؤتون الزكاة, and then pay zakah. Number two, والذين هم بآياتنا يؤمنون, and the ones who believe and wholeheartedly believe in our ayat, our signals, and our signs. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Adabi, my adab, my torture, I will hit with it whomever I please. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala owns everything. He runs everything. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not a zalim. وَمَا اللَّهُ بِظَلَّامٍ لِلْعَبِيدِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes in the point is that whomever does not get exposed to my adab is because of me. Whoever is not because he's worthy or not worthy, is because of me, because of my rahmah, because of who I am. أُصِيبُ بِهِ مِنْ أَشَاء. But my rahmah, it contains, it's suitable and able, and it's actually is available to everybody. It's contained in it. Everybody's contained in it, in my rahmah. I will give you what you are from this rahmah. I will give you this rahmah. سأكتبها. For who? The three conditions. The ones who do three things. يتقون, they have the practice the tuqa, number one. Number two, يؤتون الزكاة, the ones who pay zakah. You can tell tuqa is between the relationship between the man and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is what we say حقوق Allah. What we're supposed to do towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Have tuqa, have fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to build a wall between us and the wrath and the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And وَيَؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ, to pay zakah. And this is حقوق العباد, for them to work in their communities, to pay money, to do good, for them to build their communities, as we call it حقوق العباد. حقوق الله وحقوق العباد. There's two things. Number three, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ بِآيَاتِنَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, and the ones who believe in our ayat, the ones who believe in and wholeheartedly they follow and they believe our signals and our ayat and our miracles that we sent to them. So what is this conditional here? I will give them to whom? The one from this point on, they will practice these three things. It's not because they could claim and say, Ya Allah forgive me, Allah forgive me, Allah forgive me, from here until the day of the end. Their future work, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, their future work will grant them my rahmah and my maghfirah. Whatever they're going to do from this point. So the door is open for them, but they have to take advantage of it. They have to earn it on their own. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us, inshallah, and bless this ummah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the best meanings in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, will open up our hearts and our minds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us, inshallah, from Ahli Jannah.